10 days ago, I was in Mumbai. 10 days ago, the air I breathed was thick with the salt of the Arabian Sea and the dense smell of gasoline. I was screaming at a business partner on the phone, my voice drowned out by the traffic. Now everything I inhale, everything I taste is just sand. Sand in my mouth, sand grating in my nose, sand clinging to every pore of my sweat-soaked skin. The rickety old Jeep finally gave up. It didn't die suddenly. It died slowly, the engine coughing a few ragged, wheezing times before fading into absolute silence. I sat still, hands gripping the wheel, staring at the cracked windshield. I stepped out. The heat hit me like an invisible furnace wall. This wasn't the humid, suffocating heat of the city, but the dry, hostile heat of the Thar Desert. The kind of heat that could melt thought itself, rendering all decisions meaningless. Bulgan lay nestled in the shallow valley ahead, just like the faint memories my father had accidentally left behind. A cluster of faded yellow sandstone houses, cracked and covered in dust, looking as if they had grown from the earth itself. But something was wrong, very wrong. It was the silence. Not the normal silence of a desert afternoon, where you can still hear the scuttle of a lizard or the hiss of wind through crevices. This was a thick, oppressive silence. A silence with weight, pressing on my eardrums, forcing the air from my lungs. I dragged my leather bag down the only path through the village. Dust clung to the sweat on my neck. I am Rohan, a man of numbers, of contracts. I came here to liquidate an inheritance. This is where my father was born, the place he fled as a teenager and never looked back. He spent his life building a small empire in Mumbai, burying the memory of this place. Now he was gone, and this worthless ancestral land, by some cruel twist of the law, belonged to me. I came here to sell it, to sign the papers, to erase the last trace of a past I never belonged to. The first house had a heavy, intricately carved wooden door, wide open. It banged weakly in the light breeze, over and over. "Hello," I called out, my voice hoarse with dust. "Namaste." There was no reply, just the creaking door. I stepped inside. The smell hit me immediately. It wasn't the musty odor of abandonment. This was the smell of a life interrupted. A plate of chapati sat on the stove. The dough was still slightly damp. Beside it was a bowl of dal. A thin skin formed over the top. And the flies. Thousands of them, a black, shimmering carpet that vibrated. They didn't fly away when I approached. They were too busy, as if they were the new owners of the place. I backed away, bile rising in my throat. I walked through the village square, past the giant banyan tree my grandmother used to talk about. Its roots were bare like skeletal fingers. The well was bone dry. I went into another house. The door was also open. A wooden children's toy lay overturned on the step. Inside, a cradle was still rocking gently, as if someone had just pushed it. But there was no wind. I kept walking, fear beginning to seep into my annoyance. Every door was wide open. Every house was the same. Food left unfinished. Clothes hanging on lines, crisp in the sun. Bulgan wasn't an abandoned village. It was a village that had evaporated. My ancestral home was at the end of the village, slightly larger than the others, but just as dilapidated. The door was open here too. Inside, a thick layer of dust covered everything. Clearly, no one had lived here for decades. My father was right to leave this place. I threw my bag on the floor. A cloud of dust rose, dancing in the shaft of light from the window. The silence inside the house was worse than outside. It settled in my ears, taking on its own texture. I walked to the window, looking out at the endless desert. A feeling of being watched crawled up my skin. But there was nothing but sand and sun. Only sand. Night fell fast, like a heavy blanket being dropped. The darkness here was thick, primal, undiluted by any human light. I found an old oil lamp in the kitchen. It took me a moment to get it lit. The weak, yellow light only made the shadows seem deeper, more active, as if they were breathing. And then I heard it. It wasn't exactly a sound. It was a vibration. A frequency so low I felt it in my chest before my ears registered it. A hum, very faint. It seemed to come from beneath the ground, from the very stones of the village. I stood perfectly still. My heart hammered against my ribs. The hum lasted for about 10 seconds, then stopped. Just the old house settling. Just the desert wind. I told myself that, but the voice in my head was trembling. I unrolled my sleeping bag on the floor, trying to convince myself that exhaustion had won out over fear. I needed to sleep. Tomorrow I would find the village headman, or whoever was left, and get out of here, even if I had to walk. I woke up in total darkness. The lamp was out. The air was freezing. The hum had returned. This time it was louder, a steady, prolonged drone. It wasn't underground anymore. It was right outside the door. I held my breath. The droning intensified. It had a rhythm, like a slow, distorted chant played through a giant, blown-out speaker. It got inside my head, vibrating my bones. I crawled to the window, trying not to make a sound. I parted the musty cloth curtain. Nothing. Just the pale moonlight on the empty houses. The village square was deserted, but the sound was still there. It was calling. A movement in the corner of my eye. The house across the way. The one with the flies. A shadow stood in the doorway. I strained my eyes. It was a man, standing still as a statue. "Hey," I whispered, my voice raw. "Are you okay?" The man didn't move. The humming became piercing. Then the man moved. He didn't walk like a normal person. He glided, his feet seeming to float above the ground. He moved toward the square, then turned onto the path leading out into the desert. He didn't look left or right. I watched, paralyzed. Another door opened. A woman emerged, the unfinished chapati still in her hand. Then another from an alley. 2 children, holding hands, walked out of the house with the cradle. An exodus. A silent procession. They all moved to the same rhythm, pulled by the sound that only they could fully hear. They passed by my house. I could see their eyes. Wide open, empty, reflecting the lifeless moonlight. They walked straight into the desert, with no water, with no food. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run out and shake them, but fear nailed me to the spot. I could only watch until the last one disappeared over the dune, and the humming suddenly cut out. The silence that crashed down was more deafening than the noise. I didn't sleep again. I sat with my back to the wall, the single paring knife I'd found clutched in my hand, until the first gray streak of dawn touched the windowsill. I had to leave. Immediately, I grabbed my things. I didn't care about the papers anymore. I didn't care about the land. I ran from the house, ran toward the jeep. I knew it wouldn't work, but I had to try. I turned the key. Nothing, not even a click. It was dead. Not out of gas. It was completely dead. The battery, the engine. I looked down. The tires were sunk even deeper into the sand than yesterday, as if the ground were trying to swallow it. "Rohan." I jumped, almost screaming. The voice was weak, like parchment paper rubbing together. An old woman was sitting in the shade of the banyan tree. She was so old, she looked carved from the same sandstone as the village. She was the only one who hadn't joined the procession. I recognized her. Priya, the caretaker of the small temple my grandmother used to mention. She should have been much older, but her appearance was gaunt. "Priyaji," I panted, running to her. "What's happening? Where is everyone?" She looked up at me, her eyes sunken and black. "They are gone, like the others." "Gone where?" "The procession last night. I saw them." "We must not speak of it," she interrupted, her voice sharp with fear. "It listens. The sand has ears." The wind has eyes. She stared at me. You should not be here. You are a city man. This place no longer welcomes life. I don't understand. What listens? That sound. Hush. She pressed a finger to her chapped lips. It calls them. Once every moon cycle. It calls those who remain. Last night was the final call. Then why didn't it call you? A sad smile flickered across her face. It has tried. For many years. But my heart already belongs to the old gods. It cannot take what is already given. She reached out a bony hand, touching my arm. It was ice cold, despite the scorching heat. But you are new blood. You are the blood of one who escaped. You are the one who left and returned. It wants you most of all. What wants me? I shook off her hand, fear starting to give way to anger. Is this a scam? Some kind of poison gas from underground? A mass hallucination? You talk just like your father, she muttered. You think everything can be explained. But the desert does not explain. It only accepts. Your father fled after it called his generation. He was the only one left. And he ran. My heart seemed to stop. What are you talking about? It never forgives one who runs. Now that he is gone, it calls his blood back. It calls you. I'm leaving, I said firm. I'll walk. It won't let you. Her voice followed me as I turned away. The road won't be there. Bulgan has decided to close. She was lying. She was insane. I am Rohan. I run a company. I don't believe in desert curses. I started walking. I followed the track the jeep had taken. The sun was directly overhead, casting my shadow right at my feet. I walked for hours. The heat squeezed the sweat from my body until there was nothing left. My throat felt like sandpaper, but the track never seemed to end. The dune on my left looked strangely familiar. I climbed to the top of the dune to get my bearings, and I saw it. Bulgan, nestled in the valley. Directly in front of me, I had walked in a circle. Panic rose in me, ice cold. I ran. I ran in the opposite direction. I ran until my lungs felt like they would burst. I fell, swallowing sand. When I looked up, the giant banyan tree was looming over me. I was back. I crawled back to Priya. She was still sitting there, unsurprised. The desert has closed, she said simply. You have to help me, I begged. All my city arrogance gone. You have to know a way. Please. She shook her head. There is only one way out. That is to follow them. No, never. Then you must survive tonight, Rohan Beta. Her eyes darkened. Last night was for the villagers. Tonight, it comes for what is left. It comes for you, and it will not use an invitation. It will use force. She motioned for me to follow. We didn't go back to my house. We went to the small temple on the edge of the village. It was just a single stone room with a small chipped idol of Ganesha. The place should have smelled of mold and dust. But it didn't. The smell here was different. Jasmine. Overpowering, sickeningly sweet. Why does it smell like jasmine? I asked, my throat tightening. It hates this scent, Priya said. She pointed to the withered garlands hanging everywhere. It reminds it of life, of worship, of things that are. It hates those things. It is the emptiness. It is the great exodus into nothing. We sat in the suffocating darkness of the temple as the sun set. Priya began to chant ancient Sanskrit mantras. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the fear underneath it, a tremor in every syllable. And then the hum began. Not slowly, not as an invitation. It hit like a fist. A massive ground-shaking noise that sent the dried jasmine petals showering down. It wasn't a chant anymore. It was a growl. A tearing mechanical sound as if thousands of giant rusty gears were grinding together beneath us. I covered my ears. It was useless. The sound was inside my bones. It made my teeth vibrate. Outside, I heard stone breaking. The houses, they were collapsing, not randomly, all at once, as if a giant invisible hand was crushing them, one by one. It's erasing the place, Priya screamed over the noise. It's purging. The noise stopped. The sudden silence was even more terrifying. Then the sound changed. It was no longer a roar. It focused. A high, thin whine. It stopped right outside the temple door. The small room trembled. It knows we're here, I whispered. And then a command tore through my mind. It wasn't a word. It was a primal compulsion. Leave. I felt my legs twitch, my muscles wanting to obey. It is time for the exodus. Nothing remains. Don't listen, Priya hissed. Her eyes were squeezed shut, her body rocking back and forth as she chanted frantically. Think of the sea. Think of your city. Anything. Don't let it take your mind. The whine outside escalated to a deafening shriek. The temple's thin wooden door began to crack. The grain of the wood was warping. Splinters shot inward. And through the crack, I saw it. No, I saw nothing. That was the horror of it. I didn't see a monster, not an entity. I saw an absence. A hole in the air. A ripple in reality, where the moonlight seemed to bend and be swallowed. It had the shape of a doorway, but it led nowhere. It was an end. Anything it touched a rock, a dry bush vibrated and dissolved, not into dust. It simply ceased to be. Erased. You are the last. Resistance is meaningless. Go. No, I roared. I don't know if I was speaking to it or to my own betraying body. The shriek was blinding. Priya cried out. A short, choked sound. She fell forward. Priyaji, I crawled to her. She looked up at me. Her eyes were empty, just like the villagers last night. It's beautiful, Rohan, she whispered, a strange, peaceful smile on her lips. The silence, so peaceful. No, Priya, fight it. The jasmine. Think of the gods. There's nothing left to fight. The gods left, too. It's time to go. She stood up. With a strength a woman her age could not possess, she walked toward the broken door. Priya, don't. I grabbed her hand. Her skin was as cold as stone. The moment I touched her, I felt it. The emptiness. It flooded into me. A cold, infinite peace that promised an end to all pain, all memory, all burdens. The temptation of non-existence. It was so sweet. The exodus wasn't a punishment. It was a reward. I let go of her hand. She stepped through the threshold into the rippling nothingness. She didn't scream. She simply dissolved, like a drop of ink in water. The nothingness turned toward me. The room began to blur at the edges. The sound was the only thing left. It enveloped me. I closed my eyes, waiting for the erasure, waiting for the peace, but it didn't come. Instead, the shriek began to fade. It receded like a furious tide. The shaking stopped. I opened my eyes. I was alone. I sat there until the sun rose. I don't know how long I sat. My heart wasn't beating. I was just breathing. When I stepped out of the temple, Bulgan was gone. I don't mean it was destroyed. I mean it was gone. No collapsed houses. No village square. No well. No banyan tree. Only sand. The Thar Desert stretched out, flat and unmarked, as if a village had never existed here. As if there had never been a Priya, never been villagers, never been my ancestors. It had erased everything, except me. Why? Why leave me? Me, the one who didn't belong. I started to walk. I walked in the direction I thought the road was. This time, nothing stopped me. No loop, just sand. I walked all day. The sun scorched me, no water, no hope. I fell. I lay on the dune, waiting to die. When darkness fell, I didn't hear the hum. I only heard the wind. And then I realized, as I tried to push myself up, it hadn't left me. It just wasn't finished. I looked at my hand in the pale moonlight. I could see through it. My skin was fading, shimmering weakly. I saw the sand beneath my palm. It didn't erase me instantly. It chose me for a slower exodus, a prolonged disappearance. My father had run. Now, his blood would pay by being slowly forgotten. I tried to scream. No sound came out. My throat didn't work. I am a ghost, a fading memory. I am still here now, walking, I think. Or maybe I am just the wind hissing across the desert, carrying the last grain of Bulgan. I don't remember what my face looks like. I don't remember the taste of water. I don't remember the noise of Mumbai. I only remember the hum. And sometimes when the wind stops, I think I hear it again, very far away, calling for others. In another village, a new exodus. Thanks for watching until the end. What was your favorite part? Please let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss my future content. Your support is my biggest motivation. Thank you all so much.